Hello and welcome to another episode of Feeding Fatty. This is Roy.
This is Terry.
So we're the podcast chronicling our journey to wellness. And of course, when we started this, it was mostly about our diet, not a diet, but mostly, what we were eating, trying to get that under control. And then we've talked a little bit about exercise, and we've also pushed a lot into mindset because even though a lot of us know what to do, it's actually getting it done and then getting it done where it's sustainable into the future. I have to admit, I'm very good at getting something started, but, things change a month or so and then, we're off track. So anyway, we're just looking for that path to where we can, find the healthy wellness way and be able to stay on it. So a lot of times we talk about, what we're going through on our journey, but we also have professionals in the industry. And today we have Dr. Lauren with us. Terry, I'm going to let you introduce her.
Dr. Lauren K. Simmons is a certified health coach who went on a 2-year wellness journey in 2015. During this journey, she experienced the hormonal ups and downs of an autoimmune disease, which took her from 219 pounds to 118 pounds.
Wow.
After taking her autoimmune disease, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, that's a mouthful, into remission, she did that in 8 months. She knew she had the skills to assist you at solving problems, changing bad habits, and living a healthier lifestyle. Lauren Keir Wellness was born. Dr. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited to hear about your journey. I have heard about it, but everybody else needs to hear about it because it is something else. Tell us how did, I know I just read that, but tell us in your own words, what happened to get you onto this journey here?
Yes, I was actually driving down the highway and I experienced what I know now as an intractable migraine. And the migraine, it was like a bolt of lightning that hit the top of my head and it zigzagged through my body and it stopped at the bottom of my feet.
Wow.
And that was essentially the beginning of my wellness journey. I had no idea what it was at the time when it was happening. And I was driving down the highway. I thought that I was having a stroke. That's how bad it was. I, immediately, turned around and went back to the nearest emergency room to find out, discover what was going on. And so that's what I learned after a little bit, the initial research, that it was what was diagnosed as an intractable migraine. So that's essentially what it is what it was in a nutshell. And it has continued. It is essentially continued.
Well, and what's the difference? I mean, what's the difference between, and I've had migraines off and on for years. What's an intractable migraine? What does that mean?
So it was labeled, the neurologist labeled it as an intractable migraine because it never stops.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it just never stopped. It kept going on and on and on. And what happened was the neurologist at that time, she attempted to prescribe medications, and what she discovered was that medications were not able to stop the migraine, that it was innate, so it was biological, and it was not anything that they could do to no, there was no medication. There are general medications that they give you for them, the hypertension medications, they try seizure medications and so forth, and none of that will work for me. So she said to me at the end of 90 days, you're going to have to go natural. She said, none of this will work for you. You're going to have to go natural.
Yeah, no, just down the question, I think you answered a little was, was it, you said it was biological, not like life circumstance. So what is the trigger? Is it just something that born genetically, or was there something else that triggers that?
Essentially, she did not know.
Okay.
And so what she meant by where I had to go natural was I had to figure out like a natural solution, whether it was how can I put it? Whether it was a lack of nutrients in my body, whether it was food allergies that was causing it, whether it was something environmental, possibly that was causing it. And I would have had to do the research, which I essentially did, to learn, what was happening. So there was several things that were going on at that time with my body. At that time, I had not yet been diagnosed with Hashimoto thyroiditis. And so that was one thing that I learned. And then I had to get to, it went on to, I had to get to the root cause of what was happening, what brought on the Hashimoto's thyroiditis, because there is a root cause. There's several root causes to Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And most people never get to the bottom of their autoimmune disease. They just go ahead and take the prescription medication, and the autoimmune disease never goes into remission. It just stays there. You're basically medicating it, is what you're doing. So
you're just putting a Band-Aid on it.
You're putting a Band-Aid on it. And so there were several things that were going on at that time. I was perimenopausal, I had an autoimmune disease, and then I had the migraine. And so it was like, what are we going to address first? What's the lesser of the evils?
Yeah.
So where did you start? I mean, you have to get a hold of those migraines as much as you can, so you can at least function.
So it's interesting because I'm actually able to function with them, which is it's not a good thing at all. I learned to function with them. And I've had people to tell me, I don't know how you do it, because they bring me to my knees. Well, it's only a few of them that I've had that have actually like brought me to my knees, where it makes it sort of kind of make me go blind, because that migraines will get behind one eye. I can literally function with them until it gets to that point. And then that's when I kind of slow down. But I have, since then began addressing the migraines, because, everything else is in check.
Right.
So have you found anything that has helped, or anything that maybe you've cut out that has lessened either the intensity or the frequency of them?
So the one thing that I had to do was I had to get through menopause. That was one. The first thing was that I brought the autoimmune disease, sent that into remission, had to get through menopause, because that's they have hormonal triggers. And then the last thing was, to try to figure out if it was something that was physical that was going on. And what I discovered as it progressed was that every time I would always get MRIs of my right side of my brain. I would always get the right side of my brain scanned. And they would find nothing. They're like, you're perfectly fine. You have nothing going on. I said, there's a problem, because every time I would get a migraine, they would see me doing this. My doctors would always see me doing this, and they're like, what is wrong with your neck? And I'm like, I don't know. It just makes my, psychologically, it makes my head feel better. And then one day I said, let me get my neck scan. And that's when we found out what was happening. So it was cervical radiculopathy, a pinched nerve.
Oh my gosh.
It was a pinched nerve. And so I began getting treated for that, for a pinched nerve. That's essentially what it is. So of course, with the pinched nerve, you have to begin manipulating, and this is me talking, manipulating the spine so that you can correct it and it can stop.
Putting pressure on that.
Oh yeah.
Putting pressure on it, because it can cause it. So it's behaving the same way that the sciatic nerve does. When you have that pain in your lower back, it behaves the same way. And so, for me, if I sleep wrong or something like that, boom, there goes the migraine. And still natural, still have to go natural. So there are tricks and so on and so forth, that you want to do to kind of manage them.
Wow.
Lots and lots of supplements. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that, because when you begin medicating yourself, and the medical profession, they're just throwing stuff at you like, okay, here, take this, take this, take this. I'm not taking any of that stuff, because what happens is you go back to, you begin medicating yourself with the prescription medications, and then it'll throw your autoimmune disease off.
Okay.
Yeah, and people don't pay attention to that stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to protect this first, because it's going to take me out. If I let it go out of remission, it's going to take me completely out.
Yeah.
So, certain things is, and there are many things that you can do. You can meditate. You can do Reiki. You can do your Epsom salt soaks. The magnesium. Magnesium relaxes your body more than anything that the magnesium is very good, for your body. And so it is extremely, it's extremely helpful, and it's extremely relaxing. You can get massages. Massages can help to manage that.
Look,
So
Roy, I need to go get some massages.
Yeah. Right.
you have to. I can't get mine right now because I'm being treated with a physical therapist, but you have to get them. I get the massages just to control the for the environment and so forth, because of all of the pollen and so forth. It clogs up my lungs and I can't breathe.
Right.
So and the pollen around here is very heavy. It's very heavy. So I get that so they can push my lungs out and I can breathe.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, and we also, a couple of months ago, I guess it's been about 2, maybe 3 months ago, we went to our first Reiki sessions.
Don't
Oh
you love
my
them?
God, just stayed away from it because, the whole energy thing is just it's kind of one of those strange things that you don't know too much about. So it's one, you have to research it so you can understand it, but it's so true. Everything is energy. I get it.
It
But
is.
it made me feel great after my first one. And the second one, I was just like, I think I was trying to feel too much. So I didn't respond like I needed to. But Roy had a really good experience, I think.
Yeah, it was interesting. And not that I'm a non-believer, I just didn't know anything about it. And you really have to go into it personally, I would say go into it open-minded and relaxed, and you just have to see where it takes you. And it was very interesting. We actually taped an interview with the young lady. I don't think it's aired yet that we did it with, but the heat that she pulled out of my body was incredible. I mean, just like she was over my forehead, and it felt like a hot coal was just on my forehead. But anyway, and then it was also, the other thing that was strange was I kind of like got between that sleep and consciousness place, and I just had some things that came to me. I had 3 words: patience, strength, and wisdom, which is like, I don't know where that came from, but
must be talking about you.
but it's like, it made my chest well up. But anyway, it was very interesting how that all took place. But
it was very cool.
Yeah. I was going to ask about the autoimmune. So how are you treating, or how are you dealing with that?
The autoimmune?
Yes.
Autoimmune disease?
Yes.
It's in remission.
Is it?
I just go about it. I just go about it normally. I actually pulled mine into remission with food and, with supplements and so forth. Okay. Yeah, it worked for me. Let me just say this. It worked for me. Right. So that was what I required.
So what kinds of things affect you? Like, can you have dairy? Can you have eggs? Can you have gluten? Can you have any of that? Or did you start just stripped down and then you took everything out and then added it in as you went?
So I am gluten intolerant, but I do not eat non-gluten things. I don't eat things that are labeled as non-gluten. That don't have gluten in them. I don't eat things that don't have gluten in them. I eat things that are natural, that are totally natural. Dairy, most people that have autoimmune diseases cannot ingest dairy at all. It's just not, it doesn't work for you. So for me, I cannot do dairy at all. It doesn't work for me.
What were some of the symptoms of the autoimmune? Because I've never dealt with it with humans. I actually had an animal that had it, and the best way the doctor put it on me was that his body was actually turning against itself. Is that kind of the
Yes.
same? Okay.
Yeah, so your body, yes, your body actually does, it attacks its own cells is
Yeah.
what it does. And it does not, so you are like a foreign body to your body. So it's how can I put it? It's like it's invading it, like
Yeah.
Space Invaders or
Yeah.
something like that.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, like Space Invaders. And so you kind of attacking yourself. So you have to retrain your body to say, okay, no, this is what I belong here, and this is what I should be eating. So what happens is, another way that I can put it is that the foods that you are eating, like I call it my native food in New Orleans. My body is tapped out. It will not allow me to ingest anything that I used to eat as a child. So if I want to eat crawfish, I cannot eat crawfish. If I want to eat gumbo, jambalaya, shrimp creole, I
Oh, yeah.
cannot eat any of those things at all because my body is tapped out. It's exhausted.
Now, what were the symptoms that you had to, get you to seek out medical help with that?
I had adrenal fatigue. I I had brain fog. I had I was hoarse. So my thyroid was a little inflamed. It was a little inflamed. I couldn't I had a lot of it was the headaches. I had a lot of the symptoms that I were having was crossing over along with the pinched nerve. So I'm trying to isolate those. I had the initial inflammation. It was initial inflammation. And then I started losing weight like crazy afterwards. But it was initial, yeah, the inflammation that went to 219 pounds. I had never been that heavy before. So I was always hovering like around like maybe I'll say 150 pounds maybe,
Yeah.
which is like a size 8. Then I expanded to like a balloon to 219 pounds, which was a size 16. And then when I went down to what should have been my normal weight all along, I was 118.
Wow.
But how long of a time period did it take for you to inflate inflate
Deflate or
well,
inflate.
inflate
The
and
original
then
expansion. Yeah.
the original expansion and then the deflation was it 8 years? No, not 8.
It came on. So my weight came on over a period of maybe about 5 years, maybe about I'll stretch it and say 10 years. It was maybe like maybe about 5 years, 5 to 7 years. And I'm going, something is wrong.
Right.
Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Like I've never been this large. And you know how people will not be honest with you. Oh, you're fine. Yeah. Yeah. Something's wrong. Something is wrong. So I kept investigating and investigating. And then when the migraine hit, I said, oh, yeah, something's really wrong. So that's when I started, going to all of the specialists and so forth. So I started gathering my documentation, and each person would give me their diagnosis of what they felt was going on. And so they felt this was going on, and I would get a pill for this. And then this was going on, and I would get a pill with this. And then by the time I was done, I think I had like 20 or 21 different medications that the doctors had given me that I did not take.
Oh my God.
I said, this is insanity. But they didn't, they only know, traditional medicine only knows what they know. They treat stuff by symptoms.
Right.
And so they were going by what I was telling them. I would never badmouth any of the doctors for what I went through, because that's what they're trained to do. They're trained to give you medication for, your symptoms and so forth. And they don't know the, holistic side of medicine.
Well, and how did you start looking into the holistic side of it?
So I reached back to some information that I had gotten 10 years prior to my my incident. And so I started doing a little research because I'm a little sleuth. you know, a little, you know, I'm a little researcher by nature because I have a background in psychology. So I started doing a little research, and I said something is not right with this. So I started going, you know what? Let me lay off of the sugar. So that's the first thing that I did. When I extracted all of the sugar out of my diet, and it was a lot of it, which you think is, it actually does not have sugar in it, actually has sugar in it. I said, why in the world are we adding sugar to potato chips?
Yeah. Addiction.
That's
Right.
right. Everything's cocaine.
Oh yeah. So everything, not that I was a potato chip eater, but as I was doing my research, I was like, this is pure insanity.
Yeah.
I began getting, extracting the sugar out of my system. So I mean, I went cold turkey. The first 72 hours of me going cold turkey, I had withdrawals like a crackhead.
Oh,
And it was insane. I was like this. I was like, and I said, I'm having a panic attack. And my mother says, I know you are. Go lay down.
go lay down.
Yeah, she says, I know you are. She said, go lay down. And I was like, that's literally how I was talking. And she says, I know, go lay down. She was like, I can't. I can't, because there was really nothing that she could do.
Yeah.
I went cold turkey withdrawal. And then after that, I was fine. I extracted the sugar. And then I began to do a little more research. I went to probably about 7 or 8. It may have been more specialists than that. Anything with an ologist on the back of it. I went on the back of their title. I went to it. Everything. I had gotten a colonoscopy, an endoscopy. I went to an allergist. I went to a cardiologist. I went to it was insane. I fired 2 cardiologists. I actually fired, no, one, went to another one, because the first cardiologist I went to, she was on hypertension medication. I said, if she's on hypertension medication, she can't help me. She cannot help me because I'm not trying to go on hypertension medication. Because they said I had hypertension. I said, no, I don't.
Well, and your body knows best. I mean, your body knows best.
Wow. And that's what I was going to say is I think we have to be sure we listen to ourselves, because and I'm not speaking for you, I'll speak for me, but we tend to, well, I had the feeling today and then we'll be okay tomorrow. And we kind of kick this can down the road until it can, even turn into a lot worse of things.
Right. I was fortunate. I always tell people, listen to your body, go to the doctors, hear what they have to say, listen to them. But I knew for myself, I knew I did not have hypertension. What I did have was, because they were following it, was my heart would start racing. That is a characteristic of Hashimoto's. When your heart just starts racing, I would be in the bed, and I would be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, just waking up, and my heart would start racing.
Wow. So so you've taken all this information that you've kind of gathered upon yourself, and then now you're starting to help others.
Yeah.
Yes, as best I can. I know what I know, and I've been able to help a lot of people, as it relates to a few lifestyle diseases, because generally what I focus on, I can, generally help individuals with, hypertension, kind of extracting those inflammatory foods that they have in their system, working with the doctors. I do not take anyone off of medication. I do not put anyone on medication. the medical doctors do that. But I can work alongside of, the medical doctors to help them to tweak their patients' diets to, kind of reduce that inflammation and, kind of work with them to help to make them, as well, as I can. But I have definitely helped individuals, with diabetes, pre-diabetes, and so forth, to get their numbers back in check, because you don't want that inflammation in your body. The longer you have that inflammation in your body, the more damage that it can do.
Yeah.
And so, the longer you on a lot of that medication, the more damage that it does to your body. And so that's why I was fighting so much, that I did not want to take the medication. They were giving me, I do have I was diagnosed with asthma as a child, and I've never taken an ounce of medication. They gave me inhalers and all this. I said, I'm not taking that stuff. That stuff will raise your blood pressure. And then when your blood pressure is high, they're going to give you what? Hypertension medication. No. So for myself, and I always say this is for myself, always make sure that you check with your physicians and so forth, because they know your medical history far better than I do. And so you definitely want to check in with them, to see, what your numbers are, get your blood work, get your annual checkup and so forth. And then, make sure that you're living a healthy life.
Right. Yeah, I think that's another good point, is that there's, and we're not medical doctors, and we always specify, go see a doctor, take their advice. But, one thing I think we've learned is that, first off, inflammation, as more research has come out, it's like, it's kind of the root of most of the evil in our bodies. But a lot of this can be influenced by our diet. And like you said, we don't know what, we know there are a lot of things you would think doesn't have sugar, but we don't eat a lot of sugar. And not long ago, we ordered from a little Italian restaurant. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, that red sauce, it was sugar laden. I mean, it was almost like eating a candy bar.
Yeah.
So anyway, people do that stuff because it makes it taste better, makes the kids eat it. But
Oh yeah.
sometimes it can be that addictive factor. And going back to your withdrawals, I found the same thing coming off of carbohydrates. When my doctor first diagnosed me with type 2 diabetes, he said, I want you to cut your carbs back. And so that was on a Wednesday, Thursday. Friday night, I started, like, right above my eyes. It felt like my head was going to blow off. And I carried that with me through Sunday. And to be honest, I thought I was dying, or having, like you said, having some kind of a stroke. And so I went to, the CVS, a little drugstore, and had an auto machine. And my blood pressure was escalated. So it scared me. I called my doctor the next day, and he's like, well, come in. He took my blood pressure, and it was normal. And he said, well, first off, those machines aren't that great. But he said, secondly, he said, you're just having withdrawals from carbohydrate. He said, it's like a drug, and you will have to come off of that.
Yeah.
Surely there are like rehab places where you can go and get, get withdrawn from sugar and carbs and things. If there aren't, there needs to be, because it's a hard, 3 days for sure, if not a little bit longer. But then you have to learn what you need to be putting into your body, so you don't have those cravings in the future, and make sure that you're addressing whichever issue it is that you have, whether it's the Hashimoto's or type 2 diabetes or whatever, right?
And that's what I teach people. That's what I teach people how to do when the first 72 hours are the worst. When you're withdrawing off of sugar, it's the worst. And so you just have to kind of take it. For me, I wanted to get rid of the migraines. And so I knew that I had to tolerate it. I'm like, it's going to stop eventually. And it did. But what people do is, when they relapse, so when people are on a diet, as they like to call it, instead of a lifestyle change, the first 72 hours, when they stop eating the sugar, all they thinking of, okay, so what can I eat? Drink water. No, what can I eat? Drink water. Because you're dehydrated is what's happening. And so they don't even think about that. No, what can I eat? Like, I can't eat this or fill in the blank with this. No, drink water. Just drink water. Yeah, we're so addictive. So we're born with addictions. Because when you think about this, when you're born with it, what is the first thing that that moms are giving their babies?
Milk.
Milk. What does milk have in it? Sugar. It has sugar.
Water, sugar.
Even if you're breastfed, even if the babies are breastfed, whatever it is that you've ingested, guess what they're ingesting?
Yeah.
So they're getting it straight from, so we come into the world with that sugar addiction. And so we're predisposed to it. So unless the mom's body is clean and the mom has detoxed before she had the baby, guess what's happening? The cycle is happening. So if mom has asthma, guess what the baby's going to have?
You'll have asthma as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so people are wondering why these little ones are born or coming out with this asthma and so forth. Guess what?
That makes so much sense. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's true. It's so true. Okay, so what would you tell? So like we're dealing with, so I have, at one point I was told that I had Hashimoto's, but then they came back and said, no, you have hypothyroidism. But Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism, they're two separate issues, right? I mean, the Hashimoto's is autoimmune, and then the hypothyroidism is the gland itself.
It's the disease.
Yes. So it's treated differently.
So what probably happened is that Hashimoto's can actually turn into hypothyroidism if you don't catch it in time. So it's the progression of it.
Okay.
It's the progression, and it's the way that the numbers look. That's the way that it was explained to me. And so you can have if you have normal TSH levels like I do, they don't really test you for the Hashimoto's or the hypothyroidism if you have normal TSH levels. What has to happen is you have to do the second layer of tests, which the doctors don't like to do. So you're looking at the T3, T4, you're looking at all of those numbers. And that is how you determine what the Hashimoto's is. So yeah, you can always, get a second opinion, from another doctor and so forth. But what they do, even with the Hashimoto's, they want to put you on the, on the medication and so forth. Yeah, that wasn't my case. I was fortunate. I always tell people that wasn't my case. And so I always guard my food with my life and pay attention to what it is that I'm eating. So I don't eat out.
You don't eat out at all?
I don't eat out at all.
We might withdraw with that too.
Say it again.
We're going to withdraw from doing that. Yeah.
But really, in order to know what's in this stuff, you really just have to, because it's not that people do it maliciously. They do it to make the taste better, where people come in and things like that. But we just never know what those ingredients are.
Mm-hmm.
I do know what's in it, and that's why I don't eat out.
Right.
Yeah. I don't eat out. And I tell people, they say, you don't eat anything? No, I know restaurants, the food industry is not in it they're not in it for health. They're in it to make money. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. And so I have to eat at home, because most oftentimes if you ask the chefs what's in the food, and they don't even know. They don't even know. I'll give you a perfect example. I used to enjoy eating at said restaurant. I won't give the name. I used to enjoy eating at a certain restaurant. And I said, what type of oil do you use on your lamb chops? And they said, oh, we use olive oil. That's what the chef said. And I said, no, it's something else that is in that. I said, because I can taste it. It tastes like grease. So I asked the manager, because what I do know is is that olive oil burns at that high, on that high heat. There are only two oils that you can use at high heat, and almond oil is one of them. Almond oil is too expensive for them to cook with.
Right.
Olive oil is too, it does not, it burns too fast, right? So I asked the manager, I said, what type of oil is that? He said, oh, that's olive oil and it's mixed with canola oil. I said, I knew it. Canola oil is very inflammatory for your system. So that is generally, if they say they cook with olive oil, is olive oil mixed with vegetable oil or whatever it is that they're using so that they can cook at high heat on those grills.
And I'm sure it's a cost factor too. They can put a little drip of olive oil in there and tell you that we're cooking with olive oil.
Of course.
But the ratio is probably more skewed to the canola oil.
Oh
yeah, of course it is. And I said, I get it. I said, thank you for sharing that with me. I never ate at that restaurant again.
Now, the other thing they kind of train us up on too is eating such large volumes. These plates today have become crazy, and that's something that we have trouble with. Is Terry's a great cook, and so even as we eat at home, I like I want that second helping, where if I would just give myself a few minutes, I will eventually be full. And the other day, I don't know, I was kind of snacky. We hadn't eaten too much, and I just said, "Oh, I'm hungry for some popcorn or something like that." Or I said, "I want some popcorn," and she's like, "Aren't you not full?" I said, and I thought for a minute. I said, "Yeah, I really am full," but I felt it like right through my chest. I just kind of had this sinking feeling, and it was probably dehydration. It was probably being a little bit tired because it was the end of the day.
Yeah.
There's all these other feelings that I've begun to realize that, that hunger or the desire to eat, I'm not going to say hunger because it's usually not hunger. It's a desire to eat, comes from a lot of other places than being hungry.
Yeah. And I'm always trying to, I am not a good cook. He's very sweet to say that, but he's just so happy that anybody is taking care of him.
Yeah,
anybody. And I am really not that great of a cook, but my goal is to make sure that he doesn't get snacky. And, that's a hard, because, like he said, it was just really right, within an hour after we ate. And I was like, aren't you full? Aren't you still full? No. And the fact that he realized, that's just his pull in his chest, and that's kind of what his deal, his spiel is before he goes to bed. He's got to go through this. Maybe if he can just grab some water or, something, do something else, and then go to bed. Just go to bed.
That's hard. I tell you, it is hard because you like to snack.
Oh my gosh.
It's definitely hard.
Popcorn, salty stuff. And then I don't know, somewhere along the way I developed a sweet tooth, and so now it's even doubly, because like I need a little bit of sweet and then a little salt after that.
Probably that's probably me, but I am the grocery shopper, so I don't have to bring that stuff home. But I'm feeling, usually when I go, I'm hungry, so I want to go and, oh, those look great. Well, I'm going to get the nuts, but I'm going to get the raw nuts, but then I'm going to, there's some cookies. I'm going to grab just a little bit. No,
it's hard. That's hard. I tell you, it doesn't end when you're eating a healthy lifestyle like I do. It doesn't end. Trust me. The cravings don't end. You just have to take it baby steps.
Yeah.
I tell people baby steps with that, because it's traumatic for you to have to just stop it like all at once. It really is. It's traumatic. So you just have to take baby steps. You have to be kind to yourself as well. If you fall off the wagon or you kind of partially on the wagon, just get back on it. That's all.
I usually fall off and then get ran over by the wagon. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's an adult thing. I don't remember it as a child so much, but it's an adult habit that I've done for years. And what the other thing I've learned is it's usually because of getting sleepy. So at night, if I got something I want to do, and it's like, well, have something quick to eat instead of just listening to my body and just going to bed, drinking that glass of water and just going to bed. It's difficult, but like you said, we have to be kind and not be like, oh well, I fell off, so I'm just going to continue on this bad path, because we never get it fixed when we do that.
Yeah. Yeah, don't beat yourself. Yeah, I tell people don't beat yourself up. It won't happen overnight. Everyone has to do it. You have your own path.
Right.
It's your body, you have your own path, and you have to do it in your own way. You just have the knowledge. If you have the knowledge, then you know what it is that you can do,
Right. Right.
you know? And so that's essentially what it is. You just have a few things that you want to work out at a time, just a few things, not don't take everything all at once like I did. I tell people, do not follow my lead. Trust me when I tell you,
Right.
do
That's
not, because
the
you
big,
will.
yeah, the big picture is just so hard. If you, it's easier. I say that it's easier if you chip away. That's what helps me better. But do I do it all the time in everything I do? No, but I should.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just
I think that sets us up for failure because, and I'm this guy, I'm always telling off on myself, but you wake up one day fed up and it's like, okay, no more sugar, no more carbs. I'm going to the gym. I'm
yeah.
gonna, I'm gonna go crazy. And I was like, you got so much commotion in your life that you've just developed that it's no wonder that we, have these temporary setbacks. And so, trying to take one thing and then also, maybe doing things gradual if you have the luxury of the time. Sometimes people get to a position that they have to make drastic changes immediately, but if you can, just start cutting back a little here, a little there, until you get to the point where you really want to be.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
You're right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You're right. That's why a lot of people do fall off the wagon and they're like, oh, well, and then you have the other individuals that'll go, okay, I've eaten well all week. What cheat meal am I gonna have this weekend? What?
Yeah.
It's the weekend. We're celebrating.
See, and I can't do that. I'm because if I have one taste of this, whatever the cheat is, I want it more and more. So, some people can handle that, but I just have to say I'm not one. I have to go to the extreme of just not having it. Because like those little, I always say um, I don't know the company. Somebody came out with these little 100-calorie little ice cream sandwiches a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
I love those things, but I eat 4 or 5 of them at a at a setting down, so it really wasn't doing me any good.
You felt like you had more, so you were fuller, so you
Exactly.
didn't need any more.
I'd have been better eating the old original big ones that probably only had 250 calories in it. But
Right.
anyway,
Oh
so
my
I
God.
just get a little taste for it, and then it's just uncontrollable.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Lauren, I wanted to let's kind of reel back. I know we're talking about all over the place, but so you're a certified health coach. What kind of programs do you offer on your website? And you have
So
a new one that I want you to talk about as well.
yes, I have. So it's called the Metamorphosis Health Coaching Program, and my signature program is the Bee Fly Detox. So initially, I did a 21 day just to get people started. But what I discovered was, because I'm so adamant about it, I could do it, but other people are like, this is overwhelming. So what I did was I reeled it back in, and I'm rolling it back out on September the 6th. And it is going to be a self-paced program. It's 6 modules, and it's going to be a self-paced program. So you go at your own pace, and you can, move it along, or, kind of stop it, as you need to. And then, you can kind of help yourself as you go along. And then you get me to answer your questions in our own little group on Facebook. So you can come in there and ask as many questions as you can, as much as your heart desires, to talk about that. You also get a health consultation, so that you can learn about what it is that, you can eat. We look at all of your habits, your eating, past, present, and what you're going to be eating in the future, because you're going to do a lifestyle change. And, we just kind of go from there.
Yeah, and I think,
That's
and I'll put this more as a question, but for me, I find that sleep. I have come to realize sleep is pretty much my trigger for all my downfalls. Because here's how the pattern goes: stay up late, don't get enough sleep, and then get up in the morning, need extra fuel, food to get moving, but then you're too tired to get out and move. And I know that when we talk about weight loss, it's more 80% diet. But for me, I feel like I need to move every day, and I don't. I walk from, the bedroom to the office and sit down and stay here pretty much, where I need that movement. But the other thing is, when I'm out moving, I'm not eating. And so, it kind of works double for me, as it gets me moving. It's good for the rest of my body, but also it's an opportunity not to be in front of food.
Yeah, I give so I have a couple of people who I coach who they work from home. And when they're not working from home, they travel. And I said, so this is what I need you to do. I need you to set an alarm at lunchtime. Get up at lunchtime and go walk for a half an hour.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it was the excuses that came. Okay. So this is what I need you to do. If you need to take a phone call, if you are on a conference call, do it on your cell phone and go walk while you are on that conference call, because a half an hour a day will be so much more helpful for you to do that walking. Even if you need to be in the house and you have steps in your house, do the steps.
Yeah.
Do the steps up and down. Even if it's just for 10 minutes, do those steps so you can get the walking in to get your body moving.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of set that time aside in order to do that.
Yeah. And it's easy because I can't do all of mine that way, but the ones I can, I make the announcement: I'm going to be breathing hard. I'm not being chased and I'm not dying. So don't worry. It's just me walking, because
like, hurry up with your meeting
Yeah.
so I can get on with this.
But the other thing we've talked a little bit about is my big name fitness watch kind of pooped out on me, and so I started using a different one, the Fitbit again, and
Yeah.
I really like it because it the other one may have had it, I just didn't use it, but this one has every hour it wants me to get 250 steps in, so I get a little prompt like, hey, you got this many. And I
Yeah.
do what you said. If I can't get out, I will just get up and walk around the house. I can still get it in. But the awesome thing is that at the end of the day, I've got about 2,500 steps, to kind of get started. I like to get more than that, but it's a great start with just a little bit of effort throughout the entire day.
Right.
And, I'm telling you, I was back out in the field this week for one day, and we were doing some field visits, and I was with two colleagues that just wore me out. We had 5,500 steps through this day. And I came home and was just,
He was on his ear.
pooped out. Yeah. After, sitting at home in a chair for so long.
Yeah. I'll tell you something else that you can try. If that wears you out, yoga will give you cardio as well.
Yeah.
If you get up in the morning and do that breathing and so forth, yoga, I love yoga.
Yeah.
If you tell me something about running or walking or something like that, yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. But yoga, I will do 90 minutes of yoga a day. I will start out with it in the morning and I will do it in the evening. And that is equivalent to the walking that you need to do.
Yeah.
And it will wear you completely out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the great thing about our day and time is, there's the negatives of the food and the drive-throughs and all of that, but the positive, we have so many tools at our disposal that if we will use them, that they will help. Because, like the watches, it makes me input my water so I can keep up, because again, that's another bad habit is I can go through 2-3 days and not ever drink any water, drink coffee,
Baby
Cokes.
step.
Yeah. So I could put my water in, but we can also do the yoga on the computer. We've got a DVD where we could do it at home. You don't even have to get out of your pajamas to do it. So, we got so many great things to take advantage of. I think we just have to make up our mind and just try to have that discipline to do it.
Well, I think we even had a guest who said that she does it in bed. Like when she first wakes up. I mean, there's just really not any excuse. If you want to lay down and do it in bed, then do yoga in bed. There's an app for that. You can watch a YouTube, whatever, and it's an in bed yoga. And we also just talked to somebody about laughter yoga. Oh my gosh. If you have never experienced it, you have got to do it, because you just laugh from deep, your diaphragm, belly laugh. You go into it thinking, huh? What is that? Everybody's just going, hey, it's just kind of like a canned thing. That's what you think. Well, no, by 10, 15 minutes, everybody's laughing at everybody else's laughs. There were like 2 screenfuls of people and they were just dying laughing. It was hilarious.
But it's also good for the stress, because, when one of us gets stressed, the other one will start that, laughter, and the other one can't help but start laughing. And then, for myself, it takes me out of that not so great place, and it'll put me in a better place to carry forward with the rest of the day, where, instead of just getting all stuck in the mud with wherever I was.
I love it.
Yeah. It's kind of a blessing.
It's
for,
fun.
I can be a little intense at times. And so she can be like, get me to go in there.
I'll just start laughing. I'll just look at him like, really?
Yeah.
Just start laughing. He's like, what's so funny?
Yeah.
I'm like, nothing. Just laugh.
Yeah. Right. Well, Dr. Lauren, we appreciate your time. We've gone way long, I know that, but such a good conversation. So many great things to think about. One of our questions we always ask is, so what is a habit or a tool? What is something that you use in your daily life, professional or personal, that you feel adds a lot of value?
For me, we just started talking about the yoga, I do Reiki.
Okay.
Every morning when I get up, I do Reiki. It is so relaxing before I start my day. And so I find that relaxes my complete body before I get going. And so that's very helpful for me. If I don't do anything else, before I leave out in the morning, that is one thing that I do, is my Reiki.
Awesome. All right.
I
Well,
love it.
tell everybody, who do you like to work with? How can you help them? And then, of course, how can they reach out and get a hold of you?
So I like working with individuals who are either trying to change their lifestyle, who want to learn how to eat healthier, those individuals who are plagued with lifestyle diseases such as hypertension, diabetes, obesity, and they want to change their lifestyle. I like working with those individuals. And genuinely, when you're working with me, you're going to lose weight. For those individuals who want the bikini bodies, I can do that as well. I don't specifically market to that population, but the individuals that I do work with are those that do have, the lifestyle diseases. And I do that through the B-Fly Detox program. I also have, work with individuals who have special events going on, such as, lifestyle, life events, like weddings and so forth. I work with those individuals. Red carpet events, I work with those individuals to get them prepared for that. And so all of this is under my umbrella of the Metamorphosis Health Coaching Program. And they can find me at my website, which is www.laurenkeirwellness.com.
Okay, great. And we'll be sure to put all that in the show notes. Speaking of weddings, I'm a dude, so I don't get this, I guess, but we have a toll road authority here in town that's been advertising the last 2 days. Somebody lost their wedding dress. They found this really nice wedding dress on the side of the road, and they feel like it belongs to somebody. They're trying to figure. I thought, wow, how do you I bet there's some bride that is absolutely beside herself thinking about her dresses laying on the side of the highway somewhere.
That's kind of an extreme way to say I really don't want to get married.
Right, exactly.
or maybe they were mad. Maybe
Yeah.
they were getting divorced. Hey, go throw it out on the highway.
I was saying, I don't think that bride lost it. I think she threw it
No.
away.
Threw it.
You would
I
know
think
where
she
it
threw it
was
away.
at all times, I think.
Brides don't throw their gowns
Brides
away.
don't.
They throw them away.
Well,
That's crazy.
well, hopefully she wasn't on her way to the chapel when she threw it out the car windows.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again. That's going to do it for another episode of Feeding Fatty. Of course, I am Roy.
I'm Terry.
And you can find us at www.feedingfatty.com. We're on all the major podcast platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Spotify. If we're not on one that you listen to, if you'll reach out, I'll be glad to get it added so you can make your listening easier. Also, we're on all the major social media platforms. Hang out on Instagram a little bit more than any other place. So reach out. We'd love to engage with you there. And a video of this interview will go up on our YouTube channel when the episode goes live. So be sure and check that out as well. Again, thanks for listening. Take care of yourself and take care of your health.